That's to sync the audio. You got to clap to sync the audio, you know what I'm saying? But you niggas don't need to know that. I'm just here to talk. In my opinion, like, movie villains have been like a lot easier to decide with, you know what I'm saying? No, even advocate for in some instances. Like, you see the villain displayed more like in a complex way. You get to see what led them to believe what they believe and act the way they act. And in most cases, you end up on the side of the villain. Like, it just happens. For example, recently, Joker, I think it came out in 2019. It was like the biggest movie of 2019. The Joker is a villain. That's the designated bad guy. Batman's arch nemesis. That's the bad guy. But for most people, it made them side with the Joker. Like, you see what happened at the end of the movie? I don't want to spoil it, but if you ain't seen the Joker by now, like, come on, my nigga. But at the end of the movie, where everybody was like on his side, like they like started rioting and stuff, the world had pushed him to a point where he didn't want to take it no more. I know y'all remember that scene in the movie when he was on the train with them 3 dudes and they was messing with him and stuff, and you know what I'm saying, he got busy on their yeah, and dumped the whole clip in the last dude. Some of y'all was probably like, yes, he finally. I know you ain't gotta lie to me. I know that's what happened. He was happy. John Q. Everybody seen John Q. You know what I'm saying? When his son was finna die and he needed that what was it, a heart transplant or something? He held the whole hospital hostage. Had the pregnant lady in there and everything. He wasn't playing no games either. But you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, he was trying to fight for what he felt like was right. He did what he had to do to save his son. Yes, sir. He stood on what he stood on, and that's all that mattered. A movie that a lot of more people maybe have seen is Avengers, the Avengers Endgame with Thanos. If we being honest, Thanos was right, and if we being real, you know what I'm saying? If we being honest, Thanos really won. The Avengers really cheated. Like, think about it. He did what he said he was gonna do. He said he was gonna kill half the planet, and he sacrificed a lot of his own daughter. You know what I'm saying, he really put the work in to get done what he needed to get done. And then when it was done, like, the Avengers, like, time travel, like, they went back in time and beat him. Like, I'm not going for that. No, sir. They lost. I say all that to say, a lot of movies have stopped just framing bad guys as good people or bad people. But instead, you get to see the villain as someone who falls on this personality spectrum. And it's based on their goals, their motives, their intentions. And in most cases, their circumstances. And I feel like you can apply the same concept to society. I believe there is no such thing as good or bad people, but people just make choices and decisions based on their circumstances and their environment. If you hit to the stuff I usually talk about in here, you already know where I'm finna go with this. For the most part, people of color have been deemed the villains of society, and that's largely fully because of racism. If we're talking about systemic racism, it's institutional, it's structural, it's called a system for a reason. It works just like a clock. Each gear represents every facet of life, and all of these work together for a common goal. In the case of a clock, it would be to keep ticking, but in the case of systemic racism, it's to keep people of color at a disadvantage, specifically black people. So, for instance, one gear may be gerrymandering, where you can determine how valuable a vote can be in order to sway an election one way or another, and they do that by manipulating district lines. I know it's kind of hard to understand just through words, so I'll just probably put a picture up so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. That's just one gear though. We can talk about another gear, about the government flooding the black community with drugs. I believe it's called the CIA Contra crack cocaine controversy, where it documents how the CIA allowed drugs entering the black community and being distributed and consumed by black people. And that alone just led to the mass incarceration of the black man. It's a reason the war on drugs started in 1971. And less than a decade later, we get the crack cocaine epidemic in the black community. I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying, okay? I'm just giving you the information. You do what you want with it. But we can move on to a different gear of the system. If we talk about how the FBI infiltrated black communities that were designed to promote black development. For example, the Black Panthers. Everybody seen Judas and the Black Messiah. The FBI was really doing some foul shit that black people like. And the Black Panthers weren't the only group that got targeted by the FBI. You can research the FBI's COINTELPRO. Like, this is real. Like, it's documented. These people was like really, like, they was doing some evil shit. I sound like a conspiracy theorist right now, but no, it's real life. This is really happening. That's in the past. We could talk about what's going on right now. A gear of the system that's working right now, and that's the school to prison pipeline. I'm sure most people have heard about it. There's a prison cell built for every child that can't read by the 3rd grade. But there's a lack of community resources inside and outside of the school. It's a lack of school funding just to get a tutor for this 3rd grader that can't even read. You got 5th grade classes with 35 kids and textbooks that was published in 1998. It's a lot of unqualified teachers because they come from these same corrupt school systems that they now teach in. Personal finance wasn't even a class option up until 4 or 5 years ago. And most of the time it's taught by the fucking football coach, bruh. Oh my God. It's kids like graduating high school that don't even know what a credit score is. They don't even know what a credit score is. Elementary schools with metal detectors and on-duty police officers that's supposed to discipline the kid. Like, that's not normal. This is not normal. Where if you get kicked out of these public schools, you get sent to our alternative school. They really don't give a... Oh my God, bro. Or even worse, a detention center. If I just talked about the justice system alone, that would be a 30-minute video, I swear. And then you expect kids to want to go to college and do 4 more years of what they now consider school. 4 more years of what they now equate to learning. Nobody would want to do that. You want them to go to college when they just saw where all their uncles and cousins is getting rich off flipping packs. It's a lot of y'all uncles and granddaddies as rich because of Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon. I promise. You want a kid to go to college when they got brothers and sisters and they mama need help paying the bills? Like, I say this all the time. People only know what they see. You can only comprehend what you're exposed to. And I've had this conversation with a lot of my close friends. And most of the time they resort to, there's other options. It's a whole lot of other stuff you can do. It's so many other options. Yes, there are several other options aside from criminal activity. But a lot of these people can't see that because they stuck in the gears of this clock, the gears of this system. In no way, shape, or form do I condone just being a criminal. I understand that at a certain age, you know the line between right and wrong. But that line get real blurry, real murky when the pressure's on. And then walls closing, you gotta make a choice. When you got people relying on you and it ain't no time to figure out what side of the line you fall on. You got to make a choice right then and there with only the information and the resources you have at hand. And I know a lot of people gonna say, I don't get it. I don't understand how you could pick this over there. That's fine. You don't have to get it. You don't have to get it because it's not you. Me personally, I can't blame somebody for making a choice I've never had to make on my own.
I'm tryna run up the bands on my baby for real. With the game, bitch, we labeled to kill. I got money, give a fuck by the deal. Sippin' sake, I pay for the bill. That steady ballin' all offense. Bought that bitch with a roof and all.